locating the rotation with that was around Easley. Looks like that rotation has held together a little bit. But still not very strong. Not
especially strong.
No, but I'd say the worst of it right now. I'm going to do a broad track over this portion of the line as it continues to push into Greenville County, and that's going to put it up into Berea in the next few minutes. Also Travelers Rest, Little Texas, Cross Plains, going to get in on the potential for a tornado to develop really at any moment. But we have not had a tornado debris signature. We've not had any confirmation of tornadoes at this moment. So continuing to watch all of these, I'd say the storm that we're monitoring between due west and Cokesbury, and that's been moving now into northern Greenwood County, is probably the strongest of all of the storms. But this particular one affecting a lot of folks around Easley and then up into northern Greenville County. That's where we're going to be concerned for, again, the development of a tornado. And then we have Lawrence County that's going to be affected by both of these cells. One that's going to be coming out of Abbeville County toward Ware Shoals, and then the other one that's coming out of Bradley that's on its way to Greenwood. And not to mention, we still have that tornado warning up in the mountains as well. So we continue to monitor Mitchell County. We did have a report of a funnel cloud with this one that was moving through McDowell County. So a really dangerous situation this evening as we continue to monitor these storms. But the rotation, the potential for any debris with the thunderstorms as well. Haven't seen a whole lot of that. I haven't seen any debris with any of these, but that's certainly a possibility as they continue to grow stronger. But the line that's moving through now, getting closer to Greenville, this is still tapping into a lot of energy. You've probably noticed how the sun popped out. It got warm, it got unstable, and we're still very, very close to the center of Fred, and that's what's causing all of the rotation to develop within these storms. So now the storm's moving away from Easley. Tornado warning shifting into northern Greenville County. This is going to bypass you in Greenville, but you can see that it's going to be pushing into areas like Travelers Rest, and it looks like right around here is going to be our greatest threat for a possible tornado there. And then we've got the tornado warnings to the south. We'll start with this one, though. I think Pickens County may get removed from this warning eventually, as the worst of it is beginning to shift into the northern part of Greenville County. It's going to be moving over Highway 25. Travelers Rest, though, right here, very close, kind of in the middle of all of this as it moves through. And this is going to be a rain-wrapped tornado if there is one, and likely it would be a brief, weak tornado. But at the same time, they can cause a lot of damage. And this line's moving fast. Just the momentum with this going to produce some strong winds from Piedmont to Williamston over toward Greenville. And then you get down toward Ware Shoals, due west. That's still the area that does appear to have the greatest in the way of rotation. And that's what I'm kind of checking here. It looks like that, ooh, gosh. Yeah, I'd say Donalds and Ware Shoals between there, producing some very, very strong wind right in this area. And that's going to continue to move north into southern Greenville County. So those of you in due west, this is beginning to shift north of you, but this general area, we can track it off to the north and take it into Princeton. I think Princeton and Ware Shoals will be next in line, really. So right, I guess right in this, I'm kind of trying to match up the greatest of the rotation. That's a good spotting of it, Bob. Princeton, Duncan Township, Lickville in the path. But also Ware Shoals, I need you in your safe place right now. Princeton, I need you there too, because you are very close to this possible tornado on the ground. Bob, I know that there's so much coming down from National Weather Service, but if you let me know if you see any reports or any comments on any of these warnings. But they're just delving out warnings like that because there's so many along this line.
Exactly. And I do want to mention, too, that these tornado warnings for the upstate expire in 35 minutes. So that's at 6 p.m. for the 3 tornado warnings that we are watching across the region. And you can see how these tornado warning boxes are superimposed on each other. There's actually 2 here, but they extend from due west to Princeton to Lawrence, Cross Hill, down into Greenwood, and then we've got actually 2 tornado warnings affecting Greenville County. So we've got the box affecting southeast parts of Greenville County, and then we've got the other one farther to the north and west on into Greenville and back into Anderson County as well. And then we also have the other one up into areas of the mountains, and that expires in about 15 minutes or so. So right now I'm looking at the rotation, Kendra, and it looks like the strongest is south and east of Donalds right now. And then that would be moving towards the Ware Shoals area as we go through the next, say, 10 to 15 minutes. It looks like the rotation farther to the south and east has waned a little bit. And the rotation with the system up near TR is looks like it's a little weaker now. But certainly, this activity has a lot of momentum with it. Of course, we've got Fred spinning off to the north and west right now, and we're seeing these spokes of energy that are moving through. So we've got these bands of showers and thunderstorms that are moving through, and in those little bands we've got the individual cells that are spawning some tornadoes. So Ware Shoals, Princeton, Duncan Township through 546, you need to be in your safe spot as we are watching this system moving off to the north and northeast. And along with that tornado threat, we've got the very heavy rain. Abbeville seeing that back into the promised land as well. And then underneath is where we have this tornado warning that you can see. So the following locations through Greenwood and Dalewood and Cokesbury, take shelter immediately. And maybe a good idea to hit upon those tornado safety rules, Kendra. One that comes to mind for me is certainly staying indoors and away from windows.
And real quick, we have a brand new tornado warning to get to before that. We have a new one for McDowell County. Let me take off the radar real quick so you can see it. It's coming out of Rutherford County. So it's for Avery, McDowell, Mitchell, Rutherford, and Yancey counties until 6:15. And it's, again, originating in northern Rutherford County. So we'll put a track on this as it continues its trek north, and then we'll talk a little bit about tornado safety. But just want to get you kind of caught up here. We have a lot going on and many, many tornado warnings at the moment. We're going to get back to a radar tour here shortly. But West Marion, Lake Tahoma, Woodlawn, Grassy Creek, and then areas far northern Rutherford County. This is moving away from you in Lake Lure and Logan. So here is a look. I will take off the radar, and there are all of the tornado warnings. We have a lot of them. That I'll be interested to see what they have to say about the Greenville County tornado warning to see if it is extended. But let's revisit that one as there's still some indications that we could be dealing with a possible tornado not too far from Travelers Rest. But I'm not seeing any signs of real tight rotation or anything like that. When you see these broad areas of green, a lot of times that indicates wind kind of fanning out, but not necessarily rotating. And then you've got some much more broad area up toward the north. So we'll be watching this closely. Anywhere from Easley to Travelers Rest could have a quick spin-up tornado. But for now, I think it looks like one of the bigger issues may be some just gusty wind. If we go back to the regular radar, we've got quite a line of storms that is pushing in. So get ready in Greenville. It's closing in on you. We do not have a current tornado warning, but we could pretty soon. Along this line, it's just kinking like crazy. So any of this could cause some issues. But if you're anywhere in the path of this right now, from Greenville to Taylor's to GSP Airport, we want you to just remain indoors, away from windows. This is actually not even a severe thunderstorm, but it's a strong one. And of course, we've got that embedded tornado warning that's coming in out of Easley and moving up toward areas like TR. So we'll be watching that for you. Piedmont getting slammed with heavy rain. Same thing with West Pelzer. And then we've got the two tornado warnings farther to the south that we've got to keep up with as well. So we'll make our way down toward areas like Donalds and Ware Shoals and track that one. Still kind of holding on to that classic look, and we've got that little bit of a donut shape, but here's what appears to be some of the stronger rotation just off to the east of Donalds, near Ware Shoals, and it's going to continue to push off toward the north, pushing it into areas like Lawrence County up toward Greenville County. So this is an area that really has not weakened all that much. we're still seeing the potential for a tornado, and that's going to continue northward with time. So we've got, again, a lot going on. We have 2 tornado warning boxes here. One for the one that started in Bradley, and now it's moving up through Promised Land and up toward Greenwood. And then we've got this other one that's hanging out here basically in the intersection of Lawrence, Abbeville, and Greenwood counties. And then we have a tornado warning that for a storm that's getting closer to Travelers Rest right now. Pickens County, Anderson County may be removed from this warning here in a little bit. And then as we make our way up toward McDowell County, northern Rutherford County, up toward Yancey County, still have this warning for the storm coming out of Rutherford County and moving through McDowell County. I know this is a lot of information to take in. We're just trying to make sure that we go back and forth enough for any of our viewers located in any of our spots. So we don't mean to ignore any particular spot for long. But let's, Bob, let's do a storm track on this as it moves out of Rutherford County, north of Logan, and pushes through portions of McDowell County. You can see that storm right here as it continues to move northward. Through McDowell County. McDowell County, you've had it today with flash flood warnings, with funnel clouds, and now you've got another storm moving in. West Marion, Lake Tahoma, Woodlawn, Linville, all areas being impacted by that storm. So remain indoors, away from windows, get to the lowest floor of your home, put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. So here's a look at that line. It is getting closer to Greenville. Downtown Greenville just going to get blasted with heavy rain. And at this point, the linear structure of this is making me think the tornado threat is beginning to wane a little bit, especially in the spots that we're dealing with the tornado warning. But we're going to continue to watch that closely. But yeah, there we go. It's still north of Greenville that we have that tornado warning. Up towards Slater, Marietta, Travelers Rest, you're included there. So we're going to watch this. And again, I still think there's a chance a quick spin up tornado could easily happen. But we've seen the greatest rotation, the greatest potential for a tornado, and that has been down south near due west, and we can check in on that storm too in a minute. But yeah, it looks like our 2 little areas, you can see them pretty well when we're zoomed out. I've got one that's moving through Promised Land and one that's moving through Bradley, or north of Bradley, and one that's up closer to Ware Shoals. Maybe we can put a little loop on this, see how the rotation has evolved. And yeah, I mean, that was pretty strong rotation as it moved north of Abbeville. Would not surprise me at all if it had produced a tornado. And this one is looking a little bit healthier as well. You can really pick it out a little better on radar with the bright greens and the reds there. And then we've got this one that's going to be getting closer to Lawrence County here pretty soon. So Bob, we can start with this one if we want to go ahead and do a track on that area of rotation that's moving out of northern Greenwood County, northern Abbeville County, and heading up toward Princeton. Portions of Lawrence County too, could make it all the way up to Fountain Inn if it were to hold together. So there's a look at where we're looking at the potential for some issues. One of the smaller communities, Blue Heaven, as well as Princeton, Duncan Township, Fork Shoals, remain indoors and away from windows as this passes on by. And Bob, you know, oh, well, let's see. We've got a brand new tornado warning for Greenville, Spartanburg. Sorry, all of our EAS goes off in here. Go head on to the wall, Bob, and I'll track it for you.
Okay.
It looks like we've got Greenville, Spartanburg, and Anderson until 6:15. So let's head on up there and take a look at this brand new warning that has just come out. And this is it right here.
This
so
one
the one
right
that
here.
Originating around Piedmont. There are so many
Greenville,
warnings,
and
I
then-
tell you.
Yeah, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 more to the south, 4. So we've got about 6 tornado warnings right now.
That's right. All right, well, let's get to the sweeping radar. Here we go. It's near Piedmont, this area, and that's probably what you're hearing at home.
So it's this line right here that continues to move off to the east and northeast. So if you live in Gant, Nicholtown, or near Roper Mountain Science Center or GSP Airport, take shelter immediately, because this is one of those bands from Fred that is stretching into the upstate. It's these little spin-ups that are along the line that are causing the problems right now, and that's why we've got so many tornado warnings at the present time. Nothing especially strong as far as rotation, and they may not last that long. That's why you need to take shelter immediately from these storms as they are moving through.
Right.
So tremendous amount of rain. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Kendra.
no. Just want to emphasize, we actually do need our employees here at the station to take shelter, since this will include the east side of Greenville and will likely move close to our television station.
Okay.
So just had to get that announcement out to our producer in the booth, because this is the second time we've had to do this today. But I'll kind of give you an idea of what we're seeing. I'll take the storm track off. And we've got this storm that's just south of Greenville. They're saying that the rotation has been spotted 8 miles south of downtown Greenville near Donaldson Center, and is moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. So you can see down here, just south of Greenville, near Gant, Conisty. We're going to do a little storm track here again, and it's again kind of embedded all in here. We'll look at the rotation in a second, but this would take it over GSP Airport, Greer, Greenville in a few minutes, because it's moving generally toward the north and east, about 35 miles per hour. So fast movement with this one. If we look at the storm relative velocity here, not seeing anything that jumps out at me exactly on this particular scan, but I know if we look at a couple of different sources, we'll be able to pinpoint it even better. But basically just south of Greenville is seeing some of the worst in the way of rotation. Yeah, it looks like at this point it is closing in on spots like Golden Grove, coming out of Piedmont. We'll be moving closer to Malden, areas that have already been hit by a tornado today. So this is going to be, again, a tornado warning where we don't necessarily know that a tornado is on the ground, but it's indicated on Doppler radar. So let me put the warning back on.
And Kendra, from what I'm looking at too, it looks like the best rotation from Golden Grove southward towards Piedmont and West Pelzer.
Right, and really it's where the warning originated. So we'll do this track that takes it again. We've done this a few times, but these are some very populated areas that we're talking about a tornado warning. And we're, again, having to shelter here in place for all of our folks that work in the newsroom, because we have windows in our newsroom. So for you at home, if you're in Greenville, if you're anywhere on the east side of Greenville over towards Simpsonville, Paris Mountain included in that track. But I need everybody in Five Forks. I need everybody in Malden. Be in your safe place. This is a stressful time, 5:38. A lot of people are getting off work, maybe picking up the kids from daycare, heading to go to get something to eat. You've got to be in your safe place. Get off the road when you can and get into a safe area. Not only do we have that, we have the warning that is up to the north, so northern Greenville County, Travelers Rest. I need you in your safe place still. But the worst of the rotation, the highest potential for a tornado coming out of Piedmont, going up toward Greenville, and then again will be making its way closer to the east side of Greenville and Malden. So in this corridor, in this very busy corridor, we're talking about a possible tornado that could be on the ground. And it looks like we've got some traffic cameras and such. Let me know if we've got something to pull up at this point. We're gonna be heavily focused on radar, but if we've got something live to show you, we will definitely get it to you. Another fresh track of this, putting a Travelers Rest into it eventually, but Greenville in the next few minutes. This is a very dangerous situation, and again, a terrible time of day for this to all come through. Tornado warnings continue also for Abbeville, Greenwood counties, and up in the mountains. But this area is our most traveled and our most populated area, and that's why we're spending a little bit of extra time here, because this could really be a dangerous situation. A threat to life, a threat to property, of course, but life is our number one consideration with all of this. So that rotational component slipping now into the 385 corridor over toward 85. We've got Greenville, Paris Mountain, GSP Airport, Greer in the path of this storm. So the line that we've been talking about for the last couple of hours that developed in northeast Georgia, it has really fired up. And you go down to the south, we still have some decent rotation coming out of due west, and that's going to impact the southern part of Greenville County. So Princeton, this is already on top of you. This is where we're picking up on a potential for a tornado as well. And as we track the rotation, with that, we've got one down to the south. This may be a little bit delayed as it looks right now, but let's head over to Chris's DOT cam. And Chris, I'll let you take it for a second. Let us know what we're looking at, where we're looking. Yep. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
wow.
Kendra, this is right at 85 North at Whitehorse Road at exit 44 in Greenville County. I've been trying to scan the DOT cameras as the storms kind of move up from the Piedmont area and now up to Whitehorse Road. That's what you're looking at right now, and it's blowing the camera around. The rain is very, very heavy. Just a moment ago, I had a DOT camera at Powdersville pulled up, and you couldn't even see, much like our tower cam earlier. It was pretty nasty. I'm going to move to the next DOT camera. This is mile marker 46, moving right up from that one, and that's where a lot of that heavy rain is right now in that area coming up from Piedmont. So we'll try to keep you posted on what's happening, and if we see any other DOT cameras, we'll certainly turn them on. But I'll back up again to Whitehorse Road. Already starting to clear. It appears, I guess, to be moving pretty quickly, but it was very hard to see there a moment ago, and starts to look like it's clearing pretty quick here just in the last minute we've been talking. Now it's moving right to exit 46 at Malden Road at Augusta Road.
Yeah, and Chris, that's the thing with this line is moving very fast, so at least the terrible weather is not going to be on top of you for long, but we're talking about places in the path like Liberty Bridge, as well as Greenville, Roper Mountain Estates, Roper Mountain Science Center, GSP Airport, and Greer in the path of all of this. So notice, again, Greenville at 5:48. That's what we're talking about in the next few minutes. A potential tornado. We've not had reports of anything on the ground, but there is certainly the likelihood that we could have one, given what we've seen in the way of storm reports and of the potential for the tornadic development here that we've seen with many of the storms, with the damage we've had in Malden. It makes us take this extra seriously. So there we are with two different areas of concern with two different tornado warnings. So we've got 4 total tornado warnings, one around Greenville, and then one down toward, we've got Ware Shoals, and then one near Greenwood. We've got one up near Travelers Rest. So we've got 4 areas of pretty big concern here. And then it looks like we may have had something new develop even off to our east, but we'll get to that in a second. But again, Greenville, this is bearing down on you right now. The worst of this coming out of Piedmont and West Pelzer, and then going to be moving right over Greenville and some of the worst hit areas along I-85. And that's where we might actually have a tornado on the ground. That's why we're going to have a lot of eyes on this as this moves through, unfortunately, because I know a lot of folks are in cars stuck on the interstate. So hopefully this can move through fast. Hopefully we don't end up with any kind of touchdown, but you need to be in your safe place around Greenville, toward Greer, and in Simpsonville as well. All of this coming out of Piedmont and Pelzer, and eventually will be right on top of Greenville and then the east side of Greenville. We've got our station sheltering in place as this tornado warning is going to continue over the next 45 minutes or so, 30 to 45 minutes. So we've got tornado warning, Greer, Simpsonville, Greenville, Piedmont, Slater, Marietta, Travelers Rest, Easley. This has moved away from Easley at this point, but still remain on guard. And then we've got the tornado warning that is over Greenwood. And then we also have the one that's near Due West and also over toward Ware Shoals that will continue to move off toward the north toward Princeton. Lawrence also will be under the gun. So these are areas where I need you to be in your safe place. Let's review those tornado safety precautions right now as we're going to be looking at the potential for a tornado, maybe multiple touchdowns in the next couple of hours. You want to get to the lowest floor of your home, away from windows. Hallway, bathroom, or a closet are good places to be. You want to protect your head and abandon mobile homes. This is so important. Even if you don't have time to get to your storm shelter or designated storm shelter, it is actually safer to be down in a ditch than it is to be in a mobile home. But again, these are things to think about when there's a tornado watch, not necessarily a tornado warning. So let's get back to the radar, as we have a lot to get through. I want to start back with the Greenville storm and get a fresh look at the latest radar as it is closing in. You can see this line that's getting into Greenville right now through Piedmont, Williamston, extending up right along the Pickens-Greenville line. So that's where it's moving in at the moment. But right over Greenville, that's what we're going to be dealing with, potential for a tornado touchdown. And I know we have a lot of cameras around the Greenville area, so if you see any you want to pop up for us, directors, just let me know. But right now, we're going to be seeing some pretty nasty scenes as this all builds in to Greenville in the next few minutes, building into the northern part of Greenville over toward toward Travelers Rest. And then we're looking toward 385 and 85 here. Look at these low-hanging clouds. This is looking toward downtown Greenville, and again, just gives you an idea of the ominous scene out there. Doesn't necessarily mean we've got a tornado here. That's a little bit unorganized looking, but anytime we've got that lowering, it often indicates we've got some of that rotation within the thunderstorm. And we're going to be watching this closely as it moves through. A lot of striations in the clouds too, from just how turbulent the atmosphere is at the moment. So watching that's our 385 and I-85 camera at Harley-Davidson, where the storms are starting to move in. And then we've got this batch of storms moving out of Abbeville County. That's going to be getting into Lawrence County, as well as spots like Princeton and southern Greenville County. And then we've also got the tornado warning around Greenwood. But Bob, real quick, has there been any updates on National Weather Service on exactly any reports, any damage issues, or anything that's not looking as impressive as it once was?
Not seeing anything on Weather Chat per se right now as far as anything with the current warnings that we have. That's not saying we don't have that, but we certainly are watching these warnings continuing. And what I want to do is go through these warnings and just kind of see how long they last. And what I'm going to do is get out some of the satellite radar activity, and we'll just get down to the warnings here. And actually the yellow area is the tornado watch that is in effect until about 7 p.m. But then we've got a slew of warnings. We've got this tornado warning that is in effect, and a lot of these are overlaid. So we have one for Anderson, Greenville, and Pickens. That runs until 6. So that's another 13 minutes. And then we have another part of this box that is in effect until 6:15, a little farther east. That includes a part of Spartanburg County as well. And then farther to the south, we have Abbeville County and Greenwood County until 6 p.m. And there's another box in there, too, that is extended a little farther to the north and east, and that is for Abbeville, Greenwood, and Lawrence until 6 p.m. And don't want to forget about our friends in the mountains either, as we still have a tornado warning for you for McDowell, Mitchell, and Yancey counties until 6:15, Kendra. So
yeah,
a lot of moving parts here.
Yeah, that was a good recap because, again, there's so much. And I saw this one, too, but this is generally outside of our area. But this one we're really watching because the one for Greenville County, central Greenville County, and Spartanburg County is hitting around rush hour. And we're talking about the potential for a tornado to be on the ground just west of Greenville toward Berea, but then eventually making its way along the 185, 385, and then along the 85 corridor as well, continuing off toward the east. Now, I was looking at the latest rotation with this, and it does appear that it's weakened a little bit, but I'd like to see some confirmation from National Weather Service about what they're thinking about with this. I think regardless, we've got a very strong line of storms, very strong wind with all of this as well. Let's take a live look. I believe we're pointing it toward Paris Mountain right now, our tower cam, when we get a chance, because this is a good view here. Look at that. I mean, again, we're not looking at tornadoes here. But we're looking at a very ominous scene where we have lowering clouds, the rotation in the atmosphere, and what could be a developing wall cloud in areas just off in the distance as we look north. We're on the east side of Greenville. We're looking toward the downtown Greenville area and you can see the clouds moving a little bit there. There is so much spin in the atmosphere. I know this is a very scary sight for so many out there, and that's why we are just continuing to go wall to wall and let you know where each of these storms is located, because the one that's bearing down on Greenville right now could very well have a tornado warning associated, or could very well have a tornado with it. A tornado warning is out. And again, we continue to see the heavy rain encroach. You can actually kind of see it moving in right now as we're looking off toward Atlanta, off toward the west, as this is going to be closing in on us on the east side of Greenville here shortly. So again, we've had all of our employees are back in their shelter because we're in this tornado warning. We want you to do the exact same thing. Let's go back to radar. We'll take a look at exactly what we're dealing with here. As we are watching this line of storms move in and really bear down on the west side of Greenville, there's going to be the potential for a spin-up tornado here, and there's always going to be the issue with finding that precise area of rotation amongst some very heavy rain. A rain-wrapped tornado can sometimes be difficult to see here on the Doppler radar. But right now, I think that we're looking at the worst potential in this general vicinity coming right into Greenville, and then that's going to be pushing toward Malden and then over on the east side of Greenville toward us. So we're going to be watching this in the next few frames, and then we're going to have some of our folks here in the studio seek shelter as well in a moment if we continue to see the tornadic potential here, because we're located over here on the east side of Greenville, where a lot of this is coming in. And hopefully you at home are watching us or listening to us from your safe place. Our Fox Carolina app is active. You can get on there and watch our coverage there. But again, looking at the heaviest downpours moving in to downtown Greenville right now, maybe having an issue with the radar, Bob. It looks like the latest thing. We can switch over to to the other version of our radar real quick, just to get a little better idea of what's going on. So there we go. Now we can see that the storm is pretty much right on top of downtown Greenville. At least the heaviest rain is located there. And I'm going to take a look at another source real quick.
Kendra, I do want to mention too that they did cancel the tornado warning for Anderson and Pickens County. So they're starting to chip away at the southern end of that tornado watch box.
Okay, sounds good.
A tornado warning, I should say.
And it looks like the rotation close to Princeton is still holding on pretty well. That area, I think, is of some pretty significant concern for a tornado on the ground. The tornado warning for Greenwood County does not look all that strong anymore, but the one that's moving now into downtown Greenville is looking, pretty dangerous, at least with some very strong wind and some heavy rain. So again, we're looking at the worst of it right on top of Greenville now and beginning to press on down toward the east along I-85. So as we take a look at the tower cam too, here we go. It's closing in, the heavy rain. And if you expect to see a tornado in this, it's not going to happen. A lot of times when we've got these little small circulations, you're not going to see that embedded in all of that rain. So it's a situation where you can't go out and try to find it. I never recommend that in our area anyway, because of all the trees and the hills. But this is a scary scene as we've got rain moving in, but embedded rotation that could produce a tornado at any moment. Traffic still moving along okay out there as it looks right now. And again, the rain really encroaching. Chris, yes?
It's really starting to slow down because we're seeing this storm move right directly up 85.
Yes.
And right now it's at the 46-mile marker. So it's moving right up that area. The 44 at White Horse Road we showed you a little while ago. Now we're at 46 and it's totally covered with heavy rain. And it's moving right up toward Lawrence Road and then heading right up in this direction.
Right,
so
and we're sitting at 52, 51.
We're at 54.
54,
yep,
that's right.
That's the DOT camera right now at 46.
Oh, wow.
And I'll show you what 47 looks like. You can see that is the next area that's going to get some of that heavy shower area. But back to 46, you can't even see down on the interstate at all.
I do want to mention, too, that this is coming down, that near Hickory Tavern, they had reports of a funnel cloud with no touchdown. In Lawrence County. So.
Well, and that makes sense. We covered that storm earlier with the rotation, but just looking behind us, this is that storm that is on top of downtown Greenville now and making its way toward the east side of Greenville. So let's get back to the regular radar, and here is a look at the storm currently, and it's going to be closing in on the east side of Greenville, but you're right, Chris. I mean, it really has just basically been riding right along I-85, and we're seeing the kind of jagged look to this line, indicating its potential for producing a tornado. And we still have a pretty good likelihood of seeing a tornado to the south through northern Greenville County, or Greenwood County rather, and moving into Lawrence County. So at this point, the storm is getting into the eastern sections of, or starting to get into the eastern part of Greenville. So we're going to be continuing to make sure that all of our employees stay sheltered in place. Bob, I'm going to pitch it on over to you for just a moment to continue watching these storms.
Yes, and I do want to mention, too, that the flash flood warning for Greenville and Pickens continues until 7:30. So on top of the tornado warnings, we also have a slew of severe thunderstorm warnings as well. So once again, if you're just joining us, all this bad weather we're seeing is due to Fred. The remnants of Fred now spinning through areas of western North Carolina, and we are on the warm side of Fred, and that means instability, and that means showers and thunderstorms and tornado warnings. You can see all the heavy rain across the mountains. We've talked about some places in Transylvania County seeing in excess of 10 inches of rain, and now all that heavy rain moving into the mountains. So this is just going to add to the problems up there with mudslides, flash flooding. So really take it easy. You've heard the saying, turn around, don't drown. That's what we've got going on right now. Very heavy rain moving into Buncombe County, around Asheville, Black Mountain, Hooper Creek, southward into Hendersonville. And then that is the beginning of this line that comes right through Greenville County, extends into Lawrence County, and all the way down to our southern counties into Greenwood County. So this might be the last hurrah, so to speak, of Fred, the last push, the last big band that's coming on through. And of course, it certainly is, as we have a number of tornado warnings across the area right now. What I want to do is actually go ahead and highlight those warnings that we have at the present time, and just give you, an overview of exactly what we have here. The yellow is the tornado watch that is in effect until 7. The red is the tornado warnings that are in effect. So we have a tornado warning continuing for Abbeville, Greenville, Greenwood, and Lawrence for another 2.5 minutes. So we'll have to see what the Weather Service does with these, if they will cancel these at the top of the hour. Also, Greenwood and Lawrence County as well. So we've got 2 boxes that look like one box. There are also 2 more tornado warnings farther to the north. This one is for Greenville until 6. And then we've got another part of that warning box that is for Anderson, Greenville, and Spartanburg until 6:15. So Kendra, it looks like a lot of these should be dropping soon. And no, it looks like we have a brand new tornado warning now.
We do.
For Greenville and Spartanburg.
Yeah, until 6:45. And this is the one. Let's see, which is the brand new one? This is the brand new one. Let me get out of the way. That's the one that goes until 6:45. It's this new polygon, the one that's coming out of, that's moving away from areas like Princeton. So I believe this is a continuation of the one that we've been tracking farther to the south that was so incredibly strong around Ware Shoals. And now it's cruising through northern part of Lawrence County, and it's going to get into Spartanburg County as well. Right now, we still have the danger here around Greenville County. On the east side of Greenville, just getting another source that I can look at. Pretty soon, we may all have to leave the studio and get into an even safer place just to make sure that all of our employees are in good shape. Right now, though, most of our employees, pretty much all of them, but the meteorologists, are in our designated storm shelters. But right now, The greatest, I'd say the strongest area of rotation on radar at the moment is moving into the northern part of Lawrence County. This area here that's going to continue into Spartanburg County as well. That's going to be getting there into areas like Woodruff as well as Spartanburg, Valley Falls. Yes, and we've got our alert system going on right now. So again, this line of storms packing multiple tornado warnings. Gray Court, this is a very dangerous situation for you at the moment. We also have around the city of Greenville and off to the east. That's one reason that we are watching this so closely, because of the fact that we're actually located on the east side of Greenville. So give me just a second here. And I'm going to zoom into this portion of the storm that is threatening so many folks around Greenville. Off toward I-85, you can see the area here, and I'm going to circle it. This is the spot that has been producing the potential for a tornado now for quite some time, moving right up along I-85, and it looks like they're continuing. They just issued a new tornado warning for Greenwood and Lawrence counties. So this is probably the most tornado warnings that we have seen in our area in quite some time. I'm going to zoom this out. So east side of Greenville, I need you in your safe place right now. And as we zoom out, you can see around Gray Court, Princeton, and then over toward Greenwood, we've got the tornado warning. So here we go. You can see we've got this one that's going to affect Waterloo. We've got the tornado warning that's coming out of northern Lawrence County. It's going to be moving into Spartanburg County. And then we also have the one that's affecting so many right now around the east side of Greenville. We can take a live look at our tower cam, I believe, where the rain has really overtaken, and you can tell that the cars are going incredibly slowly there. And hopefully we're not going to have a whole lot of accidents as all of this moves through. The tornado warning continues for the east side of Greenville, extending over toward Greer. Spartanburg, you're included in a tornado warning as well, mainly from the storm that's moving out of northern Lawrence County. And it's going to continue to push through Spartanburg County as well. So I know Bob and I have been watching these all day long and continue to see the potential for rotation with these storms that have been bearing down on some of the same locations for quite some time. You can see, here we go with the latest radar. Heavy rain moving in, and it's basically closing in on areas around Pelham Road and I-85. We're seeing some of the heaviest rain, the potential for some very gusty winds. We have the tornado warning for Anderson has been canceled, but none of the others have been canceled. And we've not had a tornado debris signature with any of these. So that's a good sign that we can't confirm that there's an actual tornado on the ground at this point.
Right.
But right now, there is enough worry when it comes to rotation that the storm is strong enough that could produce a tornado really at any moment. So along I-85, right there between Taylor's, Batesville, GSP Airport, Roper Mountain Science Center, just getting torrential rain. Also over towards Simpsonville, Fountain Inn, seeing some really incredible downpours. And new rotation has developed in Lawrence County, and that's what has prompted the tornado warning now for Spartanburg County, and that's going to be moving in. I'll put a fresh storm track on that one as it gets into Spartanburg County. Switzer, Moore, Roebuck, Westgate Mall, Spartanburg by 6:30. So please remain indoors, get to your lowest floor of your home, away from windows. Bob, let's go ahead and recap some of that tornado safety.
Yes, indeed. That's very important. That's we do that. Hello, is my mic on? There we go. Tornado safety, yes, very important. Get to the lowest floor of your dwelling, away from windows. That's very, very important. Make sure you head for the hallway, a bathroom, or a closet.
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing
that's
you.
very important to do during a tornado. Protect your head. Make sure that you have your helmet on, or you find a helmet to keep you safe. Abandoned mobile homes. Make sure you do that. A lot of folks ask, do I take shelter near a mobile home, not near a mobile home? You want to get away from a mobile home. That's very, very important to do. Let's go ahead and go back to Fox Radar 3D and show you exactly what's going on.
And let me jump in just for a second.
Okay.
National Weather Service just wanted to reiterate that they are seeing one of the strongest storms of the day over Lawrence County. Very good rotation, and I'm seeing that as well. It is near Gray Court at the moment, and it's going to be getting closer to Spartanburg County. So I'm going to take the watches off here. The strongest of the rotation now getting into Gray Court. I just tracked this one, but after hearing that from National Weather Service, I want to do another track on it as it's going to be getting into some of these communities like Fountain Inn, Crescent, Woodruff, Kilgore, as well as more. And we're like you. We have family here. This is a scary thing for all of us here at Fox, as well as you guys at home. We are going to stick with you. We are under the gun right now of that tornado warning, and all of our employees are sheltered and safe. And we continue to watch this part of the line as it moves through, which has generally weakened. We're not seeing as much in the way of rotation with it, but it's still a pretty dangerous storm. But I'll tell you, the one around Gray Court, really looking menacing at this point. But if you are still on the east side of Greenville around Malden, this is a really nasty thunderstorm, and it's right on top of you. We can take our tower cam just briefly one more time. Want to show you, and we keep getting raindrops on it, but just goes to show you how incredibly heavy that rain is and how slow the traffic is moving. Can you imagine being stuck in that? And that is
just the worst time of day for this to hit. In fact, any time of day, but the time period that we've seen with this from noon until now, this is the worst possible scenario with kids going to and coming from school, just getting back to school, and seeing the scenario makes it really a lot more complicated.
Well, there is no doubt about it. And again, the tornado warning continues. East side of Greenville starting to clear for downtown Greenville. Simpsonville, remain in your safe place. But I think that there could easily be a tornado on the ground near Gray Court, close to Fountain Inn. We're going to check the correlation coefficient, see if we've had any debris, and not picking up on any at the moment. But we are continuing to watch for some of that very heavy rain and the possibility that we could have a pretty strong storm develop.
I'm seeing pretty strong rotation just to the south and east of Fountain Inn right now.
Okay, yeah, and that's, again, very close to Gray Court. I'd say between Gray Court and Fountain Inn would be the worst of that rotation, and we'll do another storm track on it. We're not going to ignore Greenville, though. We'll be right back to you in just a second, but I do have to acknowledge that this is...
So it would be right through here that we're seeing the worst of the rotation, right through here.
Yeah, right there, and we'll go ahead and track it.
Moving in this direction.
Yeah. So that puts it into Woodruff, Switzer, Roebuck, but eventually Spartanburg as well. Yeah, they haven't seen anything new on National Weather Service yet, but we are going to, again, keeping everybody in their safe place. I want everyone in their designated tornado shelter, wherever it is in your house. And if you're on the east side of Greenville, especially up toward Greer, GSP, Airport, Malden, Simpsonville, over toward Fountain Inn, Duncan Township, Hickory Tavern. I mean, this is pretty appalling how much we have going on here, and it's not surprising because of how this all went down. We had a tropical system move in, and then we had plenty of energy from all that sunshine we saw today, and then here we go. We have multiple tornado warnings that have developed. So here is a look at all of the warnings right now, and this is actually a little less than before, but still a lot. We still have warnings for Greenville, Spartanburg, Lawrence counties, and then we have the one for Greenwood into Lawrence. That one has not looked as impressive. I'm going to check another resource here to show you. And it, again, looks like the rotation with that one has really gone down. No reason to get out of your safe place in Greenwood, but our main focus is going to be on some of these that are a little bit stronger at the moment. So, again, Greenwood, 96, and then up toward Spartanburg, Greenville, over on the east side there, and I'm going to come up here and kind of point out where some of the worst of this is. All right, so northern Lawrence County, right around Fountain Inn, that's where we have the worst of the rotation on radar at the moment. This is close to Gray Court as well. Now we're going to be seeing that move into Spartanburg County. Let's pull up Tower Cam one more time. I get a glimpse of it out of the corner of my eye, and you can see it moving through and really bringing some strong wind here. This is our station tower cam overlooking I-85. I'm not seeing any significant rotation in this area, but cannot completely rule out a tornado developing at this point. But some gusty winds certainly there at this point. But the worst of it, I'd say, down toward Gray Court and Fountain Inn. But you can see the cars just struggling to drive through all of this. Please just know that if you have a loved one on the road, they may be late getting home at this point. Hopefully they will arrive safely. But again, this is kind of a nightmare scenario for so many. It's a time when so many are on the roads. You may have a child that you need to pick up that you can't right now, and that's very stressful. And this is not going to be here all night, thankfully. It will move along, but this is going to be a busy couple of hours. So let's get back to radar. Thank you back in the control room for getting us those views so that everybody can see that. Greenwood County continues your severe thunderstorm warning. This one does, tornado warning. This does not look as strong as what we're looking at around Gray Court and Fountain Inn, and that one's probably transitioned a little bit up to the north at this point, so we'll get a fresh look at that in just a second. But very strong wind moving through as that line gets into Greenville. Bob, let's go ahead and put back the radar on because from what I'm seeing on our weather camera, this is really intense, and you can hear the wind outside of our studio right now.
Sure. Yeah, I do want to mention too that so there's a spotter that is 3 miles southeast of Fountain Inn where we saw that rotation. He said a tornado crossed I-26 with debris in the air at Pleasant Grove Church, and still ongoing.
Right here. Okay, so that's what we've been talking about. This is the strongest of the tornadic storms. We have a very strong storm though moving over the east side of Greenville right now. I've not had reports of funnel clouds or tornadoes, but it sounds like we have a bona fide tornado on the ground from a trained spotter near Fountain Inn crossing over 385, and that's going to continue to make its way towards Spartanburg County. If you are in Fountain Inn, you need to be in your safe place right now. This is a dire situation. We have what could be a large tornado on the ground that just crossed over I-26 and is going to continue moving off toward the north and east, so could affect areas near Woodruff here shortly. And then we also have, a flood warning that's been extended, but that is for Henderson County. So we continue to see flooding up in the mountains. And then we've got the heavy storms getting to luckily they're moving. I will say that. This is not going to last all night. You won't have to worry about any of this. But this line, this is our main concern. And at this point, our main focus is on Fountain Inn, Gray Court. This is moving away from Gray Court. And we'll be doing a fresh storm track on that shortly. But again, also some very heavy downpours and some gusty winds moving through Greenville right now. We have not had any indication or report of a tornado. No debris signatures with this. We are having some issues with those single site radars.
Yes, our single site radar is down, and that's not good because that's how we look at our rotation with the Doppler radar.
But I'm going to check, Matt. You do that. I'm going to check Max 2 and see if it's down there. If it's not, we'll switch. Okay.
Okay.
But,
so let's go ahead and so we're still looking at Fox Radar 3D, and it's the area around Fountain Inn that we're concerned about right now, as there are reports that there is a tornado perhaps on the ground around the Fountain Inn area or southeast between Fountain Inn and Gray Court. Once again, I'm having a hard time pulling up my reflectivity as far as the rotation goes, but it looks like it's out, and maybe the single site radar is out up at GSP. But we can see that I circled an area that is east of Fountain Inn. That is the area that we think, Kendra, that they are certainly seeing a tornado. There are reports from a spotter near Fountain Inn that there was a tornado that crossed I-26 with debris in the air. Does he mean 385?
No, I-26.
Okay.
At least that's what I think the report said. 385 leading into Gray Court going to I-26.
Okay.
But hold on just a second. Let me look at this. And it looks like, the worst of the rotation, he may have meant, you're right. I think they may have meant 385. Anyway, regardless, yeah, that's what would have happened. It would have crossed 385.
385, right.
And this is right here, the area of rotation. It has actually gotten a little less. It got a little less strong, but now has strengthened back up just east of Fountain Inn, and that goes right along with this reflectivity core here that we're tracking. So just know that if you are anywhere near this, you need to be in your safe place. You need to be sheltered because this is an incredibly dangerous situation. And we're going to try to update you too on the storm up to the north, but I haven't seen much rotation at all with the one around Greenville and Spartanburg counties. It's near Greer, but we'll watch that for you. But this one I'm most concerned about. Woodruff, you would be next in line along with some other smaller communities in Spartanburg County. Youngs, you need to be in your safe place. Reedville, you're included in this warning, and it's moving fast. It's moving at about 35 miles an hour. Woodruff, this would probably bypass you if it continues on its northerly trek, but it would make its way up toward Reedville. And then what it looks like is we've had some pretty strong straight line winds in Greenville, but now those have moved off toward Greer, and any indication of any possible tornadoes is starting to shift east of our TV station. So just to let you know, in about 5 minutes, our crews can come out of the safe place. But just want to make sure that this gets far enough east of us. But throughout this entire process, we've not had any tornado debris signatures.
Okay, we have a new tornado warning now.
Union and Spartanburg,
Yes,
it looks
Union
like.
and Spartanburg,
okay.
yes.
And that's just as this continues down the line. And that's, I'm going to see how it expands here. We'll see if it can pop up on our, I think we just got it, so we'll see if the new warning comes through. But it should be, as you said, Union, Spartanburg. So it's likely in this general area from one of these storms that's rushing in. So we'll wait until that populates in our system. That's one of the hardest things is we get this information so early that our system can't even catch up to put it in there because we're so connected with National Weather Service. Okay, so we've got this one here. This is the one that's going to be moving into the very southwestern portion of Union County, part of Lawrence County, and part of Spartanburg County. Okay, so this one is originating in Cross Hill, Bob, which is down in southern Lawrence County. So we've got that one. We've got the one north around Gray Court. And okay, and I want to let you know, everybody in Greenville, your tornado warning is gone. The city of Greenville, Taylors, Malden, you're in the clear. No longer a tornado warning for GSP Airport. This was the area that was so populated and had that strong wind move through, but there's no longer a tornado warning. Cody coming back on in here too for Taylors, Greer, east side of Greenville. But we still have one that is very significant over Fountain Inn that is going to continue up into Spartanburg County. And then we also have one out of Cross Hill that's moving into Union County and southern Spartanburg County. And then we have one in Greenwood County that's moving through Promised Land and Greenwood. So a lot to keep track of. And Bob, maybe we'll just start north and make our way to the south because I think the top priority is the storm that is around Fountain Inn. And it's this one here. This is the one that has produced what we have heard, Bob, was it a funnel cloud or a tornado on the ground over 385?
It looked like it was a tornado.
Yeah.
That was kicking up debris.
Yeah, we were seeing debris move through, and we can check our debris tracker later to verify that. But this is now moving to the east of Fountain Inn, it looks like. And the worst of the rotation is now really just northeast of now Fountain Inn. So I would say areas like north of Youngs, the far northern tip of Lawrence County, going to be the most vulnerable, and you can really see it right there. That's a good marker for where the worst of the rotation is. And if it continues in the motion it's going in, it's going to move closer to Reedville than it will toward Woodruff. But Woodruff, I need you to be in your safe place just in case. And this is all extending down through Fountain Inn, Gray Court. Heavy rain continues there.
Kendra, I circled the area where I see the strongest rotation still east of Fountain Inn.
Yeah, I'd say east and northeast. at this point. And then the other areas I'd say are still warrant coverage, but this one is by far the strongest on radar. This is one that we have had a history of a tornado on the ground, and it looks like there probably still is one.
And it looks like the latest scan has a rotation a little weaker now, moving to the north and east of Fountain Inn.
Okay, let's see.
North and west of Woodruff, between Woodruff and Reedville.
I'm going to also see if we've seen any kind of debris with this. There's not been a tornado debris signature reported out of Fountain Inn, but we did have a report from a trained spotter that a tornado passed over 385 and kicked up debris and is now off to the north and east of Fountain Inn. The rotation is beginning to weaken, and then now we're looking at the potential for a tornado getting into Spartanburg County here probably in the next 5 minutes. Then we also have the storms located in Lawrence County, kind of an overlap in Lawrence County. Let's go back down there and then we'll come back to the storm in Fountain Inn. But know that you in Travelers Rest, Taylors, Easley, Greenville, Malden, no longer under a tornado warning. So you can at least relax for a moment, but please stay weather aware. Even though I do believe that once this line passes through, it's going to be very difficult for anything else to get going. This is really the last of Fred and that rotation, the bands. So if we go farther to the past, or farther to the south, good grief, I've been talking too much. All right, Greenwood, this is one of our tornado warnings. And that is going to be continuing into Lawrence County. So there's one of our cells. And then we've got the other cell that is located near Cross Hill in southern Lawrence County, now has moved north and is going to be pushing up into southern Spartanburg County. So it's really this area that we have the 3 tornado warnings. The storm that has moved up through Greenville and northern part of Spartanburg, like Campobello and Inman, it is weakened to the point where we're not dealing with the concern for a tornado at the moment. But we have 3 tornado warnings all stacked up near each other. Really kind of the last, it's like the last exhale of Fred. It's the final batch of storms, and then there will not be any more behind this. This is the last of Fred's rain bands, and it's going to continue to move eastward and hopefully out of our area by around 7 to 8 o'clock tonight. Right now, though, we're at the 6 o'clock hour, 6:21. And the storm that's moving out of Fountain Inn has still been the most impressive on radar when it comes to rotation, and also it's the only storm that we've had a report of debris and a tornado on the ground crossing over 385, a trained spotter seeing debris with that tornado. The extent of that tornado, if it was just a tiny EF0 or a larger one, we really don't know about.
Yeah, where I live in Fountain Inn, I just checked it with my wife. She said there's no damage there.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
Right, exactly.
Well, that's what's hard to... Go ahead.
Just in the southeast part of Fountain Inn, no damage. So that's certainly good news. That doesn't mean that, another half mile over, there isn't some debris flying around a little bit.
Oh,
but,
absolutely.
But where we live, she said there's nothing going on right now.
Well, that's one of the hardest things about covering weather is often you have to cover it where your loved ones live. So
right.
I'm glad she's doing okay. And we're going to be scouting out Fountain Inn as well as Gray Court because that was where we had the best indication really for a tornado on the ground. But Greenville in the clear right now, east side of Greenville looking good. But we still have these 3 cells. So let's go back to radar and then we can track each of these individually as they are moving through. So just go to the classic NextRad radar. There we go. And you can see all these cells first starting up in northern Lawrence County. And then we've got the storm right here in the central part of Lawrence County, but the Fountain Inn storm, this is the one that has produced a tornado and is going to continue into Spartanburg County. So we've got to watch this one extra carefully as it continues to move off toward the east. Then, Bob, as we go farther to the south, when you get a chance, we've got 2 more cells. We've got one that is, check the rotation with these 2. We've got one near Cross Hill and one around Greenwood, but both of those look to have weakened quite a bit. I think the storm up to the north is kind of stealing the energy because these two cells not nearly as strong, but they will be pushing into Laurens right now, one right over Greenwood, and that's going to keep moving on into Laurens County.
And Kendra, I know you guys were talking about that spotter scene, that tornado. We're just getting reports from viewers. Signs been knocked down on 385 South and Fountain Inn.
Yep.
What looked like we couldn't see, but that's what it's hearing, is that signs have been knocked down 385 southbound in Fountain Inn. That just coming from a viewer apparently who has been driving through there.
There you go. I mean, we had a trained spotter that claims to have seen a tornado, and they have to go through training for that. That's just not a random person telling us that. And then to have damage that is supporting that, we had a tornado there. I mean, there's just no doubt in my mind from what we were seeing on the radar. There was a lot of rotation, and that was, again, in the middle of the commute along 385 and Fountain Inn. We'll get down there and see what kind of other damage there is, because that was a very dangerous situation. It still is, because the worst of this is pushing into Spartanburg now, getting closer to Reedville, Woodruff, and then we've got the cells around Laurens County moving away from Princeton, and then one final one down south around Greenwood that continues to be strong. But we're not seeing as much of a sign of a rotation down toward Greenwood as we once were.
Kendra,
Yes, sir.
I hate to interrupt.
It's Chris Scott, and hold on, I don't think your mic's up yet.
Yeah,
We
they'll
got
pull it up.
Chris
Okay,
Scott.
I wanted to show you, if you can take the camera that I have pulled up on the Waze feed there, 85 southbound looking toward Spartanburg. There you go. Look how fast the clouds are moving at the top there, if you can see. Again, this is looking from Pelham Road towards Spartanburg, where those showers are moving through, and you can see how heavy. I did check DOT cameras all the way up and down 85 in Spartanburg County. No rain there yet, at least so far, but we're keeping a close eye on it. But that's what Spartanburg County is looking like right now, off of 85, looking from Pelham Road towards Spartanburg County.
All right, well, thanks, Chris. Again, what we're watching here are a couple tornado warnings that are still holding on really strong. And we've had all of those reports of a potential tornado that moved across 385, which has been really a very terrifying thought, actually. Bob, I want to pitch it over to you for a second to talk about the radar, because I need to send across a report to our newsroom.
Okay, yeah. So I just checked in with my wife again, my trusty reporter, down in Fountain Inn, and she had mentioned nothing is blown over there. So that must have been a compact circulation that moved through 385, perhaps knocked that sign over on 385 near Fountain Inn, and then traveled farther to the north and east. So we're looking at Fox Radar 3D right now, and you can see that we continue to see this last gasp of Fred moving through, the last arm, the last tentacle band of showers and thunderstorms that are moving across the area. And we have those now extending all the way from the mountains into the upstate at the present time, into Greenville County, into part of Spartanburg County as well, farther to the south. And these cells still have some rotation in them as they are pushing to the east. So there's a lot of energy here with the center of Fred moving across areas of western North Carolina right now. So this is the last spoke of energy moving through. And Kendra, if you want to maybe zoom this out a little bit and maybe superimpose the tornado warnings right now, we can give you the very latest. So here's the circulation. Here's Fred spinning across western North Carolina, and it looks like this is the last gasp, so to speak. It looks like there is more shower activity farther to the west across areas of eastern Georgia, but I think this is the last real intense band that is swinging through right now. And you can see this, all these tornado warnings that look like a big lightning bolt there, but you can see some of these heavy storms now between Greenville and Spartanburg, Fountain Inn. Once again, we had that report of some debris in the air as a funnel perhaps was crossing across 385, and perhaps a sign was damaged there as well. And we're tracking this system continuing to move off to the north and northeast. So if you're in Dillard Crossroads, Fairmont, Westgate Mall through 644, you should be taking shelter now. Cleveland Park, Spartanburg as well through 652. So you're going to see wind, you're going to see a lot of of rain and lightning with this system. We've already had 2.5 inches of rain in Fountain, or at least at my location down there. So these cells are really loaded with tropical moisture. Farther to the south, Greenwood, we're tracking this cell moving to the north and northeast, 96. You should be taking shelter from a potential tornado. A lot of these cells are rotating in this last line that is moving through. Cross Hill at 637, White Plains Crossroad at 643, Presbyterian College 652, and Joanna at 656. These systems, these storms are moving very quickly, north-northeast around 35 to 40 miles per hour, so they'll be on you very quickly. So you want to take shelter away from windows with this particular situation. And Kendra, if you want to go ahead, maybe pop up the radar farther to the north. There we go, on into Lawrence and then Fountain Inn, and then you have more information.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, I was looking at another source between Lawrence and Clinton. That appears to be some of the stronger rotation with this area in Lawrence County. So I'm going to go ahead and put a track on that as it continues off to the northeast. That puts it into Tylersville, Cross Keys over the next few minutes into Union County. But there is still some rotation there that indicates a tornado is possible. And it looks like we've had a brand new tornado watch issued, and it may be replacing the old watch. And I'm going to try to figure out exactly how long. Okay, so it's a new tornado watch that's out until 2 a.m. However, keep in mind, we are on the western extent of that. So we will be removed as soon as this line of storms moves through. But this tornado watch, I believe, includes the Raleigh-Durham areas that will be dealing with this through the next few hours. So I'm just kind of confirming that, and that is the case. We are looking at a tornado watch that has been extended because of the fact that we're going to see more of these storms down the line. I also just had a report out of Henderson County that there is swift floodwaters encroaching on homes in Bat Cave. And I know, Cody, you had mentioned Bat Cave as one of the areas where we've had a lot of reports. There are floodwaters encroaching on homes in Henderson County around Bat Cave. The good news is the worst of the storms are moving out of Henderson County. The heavy rain should be ending for them, but the flooding issues will persist, unfortunately. So what we're watching here is a line that's going to continue to be with us in our viewing area for the next couple of hours as it looks right now. But Greenville County, I'm about to be able to give you the all clear, and I'm very happy about that since there have been multiple tornado warnings there. Unfortunately, Spartanburg, Lawrence, Greenwood, we are going to have to be on guard for some strong storms over the next few hours. So continuing with the tornado warnings, and that is with the strongest of the rotation really shifting into parts of Spartanburg County, including Woodruff and Reedville. You've also got rotation between Lawrence and Clinton. That's going to be pushing up into parts of Union County. And then Greenwood, we've got this cell that's going to be pushing into places like Cross Keys in the next few minutes. So this line still really packing a punch. We don't have much going on in the northern part of Spartanburg County just yet when it comes to any tornado warnings, but definitely a lot of heavy rain, gusty winds as this line moves through. And again, this was the second line. This was not even the first one. We've had one line make it just about to Spartanburg County and then kind of fell apart. This line energized and eventually pushed off toward the east. So we're going to be dealing with this over the next couple of hours. Greenville, Easley, Clemson, Anderson beginning to be in the clear at this point. But we're going to watch for heavy downpours from Greenwood up toward Lawrence, and embedded in here could be isolated tornadoes. Have not seen any indication of really strong rotation, but certainly have with the storm that's coming out of Fountain Inn, as we had a report of a tornado crossing 385. Cody mentioning that on 385 south at the Fountain Inn exit, there are signs down. There's an indication that something came through, and it was most likely a tornado based on that rotation we were seeing. And then we have the storm that is barreling through Lawrence and and Clinton at the moment. So, Bob, when you get a chance, let's zoom in a little bit closer on some of these. Maybe we'll start to the north with the most potent of the storms that's coming out of Fountain Inn into Spartanburg County, and then take a look kind of where it's headed. Because Woodruff, you're right next to this. And in fact, it has begun a little bit more of an eastward pull. So Woodruff, Reedville need you in your safe place right now as this continues up towards Spartanburg. Pauline, you're going to be in danger here. So we can put a manual storm track on this and kind of guide it through going more northeast than north now, Bob, I think, with the motion of this line. For so long, they were just going due north. But now it's a little bit more northeast at this point as that center of circulation is pushing through our area. So this pushed it over towards Spartanburg, Fairmont, Calvert, Westgate Mall, Cleveland Park, all in Spartanburg County, not Greenville County, over the next few minutes. So remain indoors, get into your safe place. We'll review those tornado safety precautions once we've gotten through all these storms. But let's go farther to the south. I also wanted, well, actually, we'll track this line too. This is not tornadic, but certainly strong as it's going to be moving through Polk County as well as northern Greenville County, New Prospect, Green Hill, Rutherfordton, Spindale, going to get quite a bit of heavy rain out of it. And then as we move farther to the south, we have a area in Lawrence County, and this is between Lawrence and Clinton right here, where we're going to see the area of rotation cross over 385 near the I-26 interchange. And it's going to continue up into Lawrence County. That rotation is still holding on somewhat as it moves over 385. Man, I tell you, folks trying to travel along 385, this has been a rough go for sure. And then if we can do a storm track taking it toward Enoree and other spots in Spartanburg County, that's where that Lawrence storm is headed at the moment. So. Kilgore, Woodruff, Moore, as well as Pauline dealing with that one. And I believe, Bob, that we still have our tornado warning down south in Greenwood. Let's go down there and track that one as well, and see where the worst of it is located at the moment. At this point, looks like it's moving north of Greenwood and now pushing into Lawrence County. A lot going on in Lawrence County. So Cross Hill is seeing some of the worst of this storm, and it's going to continue to move off toward the north and northeast. So Lawrence in the path of the storm, Waterloo, Wattsville, Maddens over the next few minutes. So that's a recap of all of the tornado warnings that we have in place right now. So a dangerous situation still unfolding across our area. But again, happy to give a few all clears for Greenville County. In fact, let's take a quick look at our tower cam. Way different look than what we had before. Still some ominous clouds, but it's just brighter. You can tell the heavy storms have finally moved through. So we're in a little bit better shape now. Okay, and then we're looking at a little better improved weather as we go into Greenwood County. So Bob, let's talk a little bit more about some of these storms that still have.
Yeah, so I want to
warnings.
mention the tornado. I'll start with the tornado watch warnings and when they expire. So the box to the north, the one farthest to the north, across areas of Lawrence County into Spartanburg, that expires in 8 minutes. And then there's the next box to the south and east of that expires in 23 minutes. And then there's the warning below that into Greenwood County that expires in 7 minutes. So we have, right now, as of now, we have 3 tornado warnings right down this line of showers and thunderstorms. This is that last gasp, we think, of Fred, and he's really coming through with a bang for sure. I'm going to go ahead and put the satellite on, and I'm going to put the visible satellite, see if we can get a better kind of a display of this. And okay, yeah, there we go. So you can see the center of Fred, eastern Tennessee, far western North Carolina, and we continue to watch this activity moving to the east. It looks like there is a brand new tornado watch, but I think this is farther to the east. It looks like it does include Greenville until 2 a.m.
Right, yeah, that's what I was talking about. This is the one that it is replacing the current watch that we have. And you know what we can actually do on here is I'll pull up the tornado watch on our watches and warnings layer. Normally we just do warnings, but at least on on here, you can see, I'll select tornado watch.
And now they're starting to cancel more of the watches farther to the west.
Exactly. So that's,
Through
even though
Georgia.
it's till 2 a.m., the storms will linger till 2 a.m. in this area. That's not what we're not going to be dealing with it till 2 a.m. It just says until 2 a.m. at the moment because we're part of a larger tornado watch. Right now, I'd say that our threat's probably going to be over between about 8 and 9 o'clock tonight, as it looks right now. So a brand new tornado watch has been issued because of how potent these storms have been, and they really overperformed when it came to their producing tornadoes and what expectations were with Fred, because you know, I don't think anybody expected to see multiple rounds of tornado warnings, but that is what we've gotten this afternoon. And here you can see a fairly ragged line of storms, but when you see it like this is kind of your classic tropical storm situation, tropical tornado warning look. And Bob, the one that sticks out to me in the most dramatic way is this one right here, just because of this little C curve. We're still dealing with rotation that's pretty strong east of Fountain Inn, and this is close to Enoree. We could still easily have a tornado on the ground that crossed over 385, now over 221, moving into Spartanburg County, and that's going to continue to push into areas like Woodruff as well, and we're going to have to watch those spots closely. So sending a track that's going to take it toward Pauline, as well as Cowpens, but right on top of you in Enoree. Enoree, I need you in your safe place right now. I can't tell you how many times I've said that, and that's really, it's hard because these things can often happen so fast that it's hard to get into your safe place quickly. But all you need to do is just drop everything, get your kids, get your pets, get into that safe spot, and you're going to be okay with this, because a lot of times with these tornadoes, these are not long, large, incredibly destructive tornadoes typically. These are quick spin-up tornadoes, but they still cause damage. They can rip parts of roofs off homes, knock over trees, power lines. We've seen some extensive damage. In fact, Cody, I know, has been keeping up with a lot of that damage at this point. And Cody, at this point, what do you think is probably the worst damage that we've seen or gotten reports of? Would you say it's in Malden?
I would say Malden, but it's something we mentioned earlier on. What we haven't focused on, though, Rosman, Transylvania County, we can confirm multiple evacuations are underway. I know many homes being evacuated, apartments have been evacuated. Rosman, I mean, some of the pictures coming out of there are insane with the flooding. Asheville Fire actually out now in the Candler area with multiple high water rescues of people trapped in vehicles. So it's just kind of two different elements. We have,
You're right.
I mean, the flooding up there is very bad right now, and then you have the storm damage down here. But I think right now between, I think our Western North Carolina counties with just widespread flooding. But as far as storm damage, I've been checking with Lawrence County too. It still appears Malden, that area that we saw from that tornado you watched with debris signature, seems to be where we really got hit the hardest so far, at least what we've seen.
Yeah, and I agree, and I'm so glad you mentioned that, because again, with tornadoes, that tends to be what takes over our wall-to-wall coverage, but we have had a lot of reports of flooding and of evacuations, of rescues, from anywhere from Henderson County to Transylvania County, Haywood County, and of course Asheville Fire helping with a lot of that. This is a very scary situation. Luckily, heaviest rain is beginning to shift out of all of those counties. And I like the speed at which this is going. We're beginning to finally see some decent eastward movement in the last hour. This has all pretty much gotten out of Greenville, and it's gotten about halfway through Spartanburg County. So likely by 8, 9 o'clock, we're going to see this line getting up closer to Charlotte, and then we will not have to worry about any additional.
Yes.
No, go ahead.
Tornado warning for Rutherford and Spartanburg until 7:30.
And you know what? It sticks out pretty well right here. So is Polk County also included there, perhaps? Or is it, or maybe it's the southern line that's going to go into, we can go ahead and put the polygon
Yes, Eastern
up.
Polk, yes.
Okay, so yeah, it's this area. This is one that we've been tracking for a while that hadn't quite developed any kind of tornadic characteristics, but now it does have that, and we'll be watching it as it continues to kind of bow out. You can see there producing some strong wind and now getting that element of rotation as it moves from northern Spartanburg County areas like Landrum, Campobello, and then getting through Tryon and over toward Rutherfordton, Forest City. So you got to remain indoors, away from windows, put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. You may be getting those alerts just now. And what we're looking at is a strong line of storms with embedded rotation. So a quick spin up tornado is certainly a possibility. And if we can put the warnings back on, we can just kind of zoom in and show some of the communities involved here with this warning. Okay, so it does originate down toward Fingerville, including areas like Landrum, even up down to Boiling Springs, Grambling, and then Green Creek, Tryon, just outside of this. Same thing with Columbus. But then this includes you around Rutherfordton, which is located right here, Forest City, as well as Green Hill. This is going to likely cross right over 74 as it moves off toward the north. So some strong indication of rotation there, along with other parts of the upstate, Bob. So that makes our fourth tornado warning at the moment, but likely we'll see some of these end up expiring on time, especially the ones in the southern part. And it looks like Greenwood did finally get canceled.
It looks like perhaps we're down to 2 tornado warnings now, maybe. So we have the one in
Cody just wanted to mention something.
Oh,
Bob.
go ahead.
I just want to mention, because we're mentioning North Carolina, Haywood County schools are closed tomorrow. Haywood County schools will be closed tomorrow, August 18th. It'll be an optional work day. Early and extensive flooding from this tropical storm Fred, according to the school district, has damaged several roads used for bus routes. Also uncertainty about the scheduled food deliveries in the school system. So again, Haywood County schools in western North Carolina closed tomorrow, which is August 18th. Also, Jackson County schools operating on a 2-hour delay tomorrow due to the flooding and hazardous roads. Buses will not be running on any roads they cannot pass on. Breakfast will be served as students arrive. But again, Haywood County schools closed tomorrow. Jackson County schools on a 2-hour delay. Just want to get that in because that just came down.
Yeah, and that's, again, not surprising. I mean, with the level of flooding that we've seen from these storms, it's going to be very difficult for buses to get out on their routes. And I'm checking some of the rotation with the new storm. The new tornado warning is for around Campobello. That's where the rotation is really originating, and it's going to be moving up into parts of Polk and Rutherford counties. And then we still have the the tornado warning between Lawrence and Clinton, but the rotation has moved north and weakened quite a bit. So we're not seeing nearly as much when it comes to rotation as we once were there, but it is still something that we've got to keep a close eye on. But luckily, the Greenwood County warning was allowed to expire at this point. But still watching the storm that's close to Campobello, and then we're zoomed in here around Roebuck. Luckily, it looks like the storm that moved through Fountain Inn has weakened quite a bit too, but still so much heavy rain. There's Woodruff stuck in that heavy rainfall, and then we've got that tornado warning right now that's going to be moving on through Polk County and Rutherford County here shortly. Let's do a track on that one, Bob, as it crosses over I-26 in northern Spartanburg County. And then continues on into parts of Polk County. So yeah, just kind of down there in the northern, just north of Boiling Springs, and then extending up toward Forest City would be the greatest likelihood of finding a tornado. And Green Creek, you're in there.
Sorry to interrupt again. We have a new tornado warning. This is for Cherokee and Spartanburg County until 7:30.
Okay, so now, so let's zoom out. We'll take a look at the exact location of that one. Once we get that polygon to pop up, we have a new tornado warning, and that is for Cherokee County and Spartanburg County. So it's this one right here. So this is the new thunderstorm warning, includes the city of Spartanburg. This is right in the middle of the warning, in fact. And we'll look at the level of rotation we're dealing with. And it looks like a very strong storm. It's south of Roebuck. So this is, I believe this is the one. Yeah, this is the one that originated in Fountain Inn. It's just regenerated, and now they are issuing warnings for it as it is moving in just out of Woodruff. So southern Spartanburg County, going to be moving towards city of Spartanburg and then moving up toward the north. So here it is right here. That's the worst of it here. and then that's going to be pushing up towards Spartanburg County and areas like could graze Pauline. But the rotation that we're seeing is near Woodruff. So Woodruff, you need to be in your safe place right now, Dillard's Crossroads, and then that storm's going to be pushing up towards Spartanburg County, or excuse me, toward the city of Spartanburg over the next few minutes. This is where we're most concerned about a tornado developing, and this is very close to I-26 and the 221 intersection there, so kind of the rural part of Spartanburg County, but this is moving off toward the north and east, so likely will impact the city of Spartanburg as it continues to move forward. So let's do a storm track on that, zoom it out a little bit, and then we'll take it from Woodruff through Spartanburg and show you who's in the path of this storm as it moves up along 221 into Spartanburg. So that puts it through Moore, Roebuck, Westgate Mall, Switzer also in the path of the storm. This is right on top of you in Woodruff. Please remain indoors, away from windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as you can, and get low. Get low in your house. We'll go ahead and review those tornado safety precautions once again, as it's going to be a long 30 minutes, 45 minutes for when you have to get into that sheltered area. But we're getting another EAS alert. It looks like that may just be for that particular storm. But you want to get to the lowest floor of your home, away from windows, hallway, bathroom, or a closet. Good places to be. Protect your head and abandon mobile homes. This is very important because they are just not safe in any kind of wind, especially tornadic wind. So we can go back to radar. And there's that line. It just keeps on going and keeps on firing off new tornado warnings. Doesn't mean every time we're going to get a tornado to develop, but at this rate, would not surprise me if we had multiple tornadoes touch down in our area today, starting in Pendleton, going on over toward Malden, Fountain Inn. So those have been the three places where I'm highly confident that we have had a tornado warning, or excuse me, a tornado touchdown. So here we go. We've got these areas to watch. One moving into Spartanburg County, down toward Lawrence too, and then the northern part of Spartanburg County. So a whole lot to talk about here, Bob, and pretty much extends all the way down south toward Columbia, where they had some nasty storms earlier today.
Indeed. And on top of the tornadoes, now we're getting reports of flash flooding underway in Old Fort in McDowell County. So
Okay.
We've got flooding in the mountains and tornadoes for the most part in the upstate.
Yeah, and a lot of times the flooding in the mountains will happen, pretty well after the fact, after you had that heavy rain, and there's still light rain coming down in parts of the mountains right now. But let me put on all the watches and warnings, and Bob will point some of those out to you up at the wall. The three that we are watching right now, the one around Lawrence, the one that includes the city of Spartanburg, and the one from Fingerville extending up toward Forest City. So at the moment, all of these look to be holding on to their structure. They are still fairly strong. And
Yep.
I'm going to track this one coming out of Woodruff into Spartanburg, Bob.
Okay, yeah, and you can, once again, this is Spartanburg County. Just to get you oriented, Spartanburg, Grambling, Fairmont, back through Woodruff. We had the rotation right through here. So if you live anywhere north and east of this, you should be taking shelter right now. If you live in these following locations, like Haddon Crossroads at 7:02, you can expect some bad weather, wind and rain. Also, Valley Falls and Boiling Springs at 7:11. Cowpens National Battlefield at 7:15. Watch out in Cooley Springs and Chesney at 7:20. As this line continues to push to the east, but the individual cells continue to move to the north and northeast, Kendra. So if we want to erase that one and widen out the view a little bit to show this line that continues to move off to the east. So we've got the heavy storms through Spartanburg, and you can see how these storms kind of wiggle. The reflectivity is kind of an S shape. That tells us there's a lot of wind in there and rotation as well. So we've got the storms through Spartanburg on into Lawrence, and right now Kendra's tracking out this cell that's moving to the north and northeast. So Watch out, Presbyterian College 6:55 to Tylersville, Cross Keys at 7:12, and then West Springs at 7:21 as this cell is moving to the north and east. If you are under a tornado warning, that does not necessarily mean there's a tornado on the ground. It could be indicated by Doppler radar rotation aloft. But once again, just to err on the side of caution, you want to be taking shelter from these storms. This last big line that is pushing through, courtesy of Fred. So here's that area of storminess once again, right near the state line of North Carolina on into South Carolina. The heavy rain into Spartanburg right now, and these following locations under the gun through 7:17. Let's go ahead and widen this out just a little bit to give you a perspective of what's going on, Kendra.
And as we do that, I'll just kind of read off one of these reports, apparently around Biltmore Forest, having reports of the water encroaching on a lot of people's homes at this moment, and not passable by two-wheel drive vehicles in a lot of places. So we're seeing this pretty much spread all across the mountains at this point. The flooding is a real serious situation, and again, we're going to continue to bring you those reports as well as track these tornadoes. So again, we've right now got tornado warnings for Spartanburg County, Lawrence County, Greenwood County has, let's pop this back up because I tell you, there's so many, it's hard to keep up with. We've got Rutherford County over toward Polk and Spartanburg County. We've got central Spartanburg County, and then we have a couple of warnings for Lawrence, Union, and Spartanburg counties. And I'll show you why there's an overlap in those warnings here in just a second. We've got turn this off real quick. So we've got two cells that are producing possible tornadoes, one that's close to Lawrence and then one that's close to Cross Hill. So the one around Cross Hill is going to be moving toward Clinton and Joanna. So I can put a fresh storm track on that one and put those areas in the path. Reno also, Cross Keys, Neighbors Crossroads in the path of this, and as well as Joanna and Clinton. You'll have to watch out for this storm. And then we've got the one that's around Lawrence right now that is moving essentially toward Enoree, and that's going to continue its trek up into Spartanburg County. So track that as it gets toward Enoree, Hobbyville, West Springs. I need all of these locations to be in your safe place. And then we have the storm that is near Roebuck. I'm going to put a quick loop on that one.
Yeah, that one, that rotation is pretty impressive southwest of Roebuck right now.
Yeah.
And then there's the other rotation down near Lawrence and Cross Hill as well.
All right, so there's where we're seeing the rotation. And unfortunately, if you look at how this is moving, it is poised to move very close to the city of Spartanburg. So we'll put another storm track on this right now, and that takes it into Spartanburg in just the next few minutes. So if you are in the path of this storm, if you're anywhere near Roebuck or Spartanburg, Arkwright, Lawson, Zion Hill, Cannon's Campground and the roads around there, Cherokee Springs, Cowpens, you need to be in your safe place. You want to put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. This is probably the strongest area of rotation now on radar. And you remember when we've said that about things, often we end up with reports of either damage or reported tornado on the ground. So it's very possible that we could have a tornado on the ground near Roebuck right now and moving up toward the city of Spartanburg in the next few minutes. So all of this, again, happening along 221 and I-26, and then that's going to be pushing up toward the city of Spartanburg and may cross I-85 here shortly. Those around Cowpens included in this warning, Mayo, as well as Boiling Springs in this warning. So this has been a long day of warnings, and I know that it may get to the point where you get a little bit of fatigue about it, like maybe this is the second or third time you've seen a warning, and just know that we have to take these seriously, especially this time of day. This is when we've had the most heat and energy built up to produce the strongest weather. We had multiple tornado warnings in our western sections earlier, and those have since ceased, but now again we have this line that is slowly making its way through Lawrence County as well as Spartanburg County, and then up toward the mountains. And then down south, we've got the pair of storms in Lawrence County that will be continuing towards Spartanburg and Union counties at this time. And then the severe thunderstorm, or excuse me, the tornado warning in northern Spartanburg County is beginning to get into Polk and Rutherford counties this evening. So we'll start at the top here. We'll just kind of go down the line as we have very heavy rain causing flooding, but no tornado warnings around McDowell County. We have flash flood warnings there, though. And then as we push toward the south, this is where we have the risk of a tornado coming out of northern Spartanburg County around Fingerville, moving through Greenville towards Forest City, Rutherfordton. This is the area of concern here with this particular storm. And then we've got another storm that's bearing down on Spartanburg. So as we zoom a little bit farther to the south, this is the one that is that Bob and I were talking about, has some pretty significant rotation with it that was coming out of Woodruff, and now it's going to be moving up closer to the city of Spartanburg. So Cody, really be kind of tuned in on what's happening in the city of Spartanburg, because we know a lot of people are there, and if something's going to get seen, it'll get seen there. But don't go out in this. But if you happen to be on the roads, you see a lowering or funnel cloud, let us know about it. We want you to be out of harm's way, though. We hope that everybody is able to be in their safe place right now. But from Roebuck to Spartanburg, that's where we have that rotation and that possible tornado that is developing or could potentially be down on the ground at this very moment. So again, watching that, and also down south toward Lawrence County, we continue with tornado warnings that will impact Union County as well. So Lawrence over to Clinton, getting a lot of that activity as we go a little bit farther to the south. So we've got these two warnings. One that's near Cross Hill and one that's just coming out of Lawrence that could affect you around Enoree, and then that's all moving off toward the north and east. So again, right up along 385. So this is the third time, I think, that a potential tornado has moved over 385 today. And then down toward Cross Hill, seeing some of the strongest weather move up along Highway 76, and we'll also cross 385 here shortly, moving away from Waterloo, but originated in Cross Hill, where we got some of that stronger rotation. But city of Spartanburg, very important for those of you out and about to hunker down. If you're listening to us, if you're watching us on your phone, maybe at your favorite restaurant, wait this out. Don't get on the roads. There's no reason to put yourself in danger when there could be a spin-up tornado. You know, even a low-end tornado can flip a car over. And if you're in that car, no telling what could happen to you. So you need to be staying put as this line moves through. And it looks like right now it is 7 o'clock. Between 8 and 9 o'clock, I expect most of this to be out of here, but we will continue to monitor it as we watch that timing. But yeah, Bob, we got a lot of spots in the path of this storm, including Mayo, some spots in the northern part of the county, but really Spartanburg under the gun at the moment.
Clearly the strongest rotation is over Roebuck right now, and the current trajectory would take it over Spartanburg eventually. So you can see the following cities that we have highlighted here. Take shelter in Cleveland Park, Valley Falls around 713. You're under the gun, feeling the effects of this possible tornado. We're saying that, but a lot of this is rotation aloft right now. But just to be on the safe side, certainly take shelter from the situation. Boiling Springs at 717, Cowpens National Battlefield at 723, and Cooley Springs at 728. Want to go ahead and highlight what we have as far as the warnings right now, and they extend from the mountains of North Carolina in Polk, Rutherford, and Spartanburg counties. There's one warning until 7:30. And then there's another warning farther to the south into Cherokee and another part of Spartanburg County, and that also runs until 7:30. So a lot of these boxes, these polygons, run over each other, and then you see this warning also extend farther to the south and west. We also have this other tornado warning that is farther to the south. into Lawrence, Spartanburg, and Union County as well. So that's what we have. We have 1, 2, 3, and maybe 4 tornado warning boxes right now. And then we also have flash flood warnings into the mountains all over the place, flash flood warnings, a brand new one for McDowell County, and that runs until 10 p.m. But I do want to talk about that circulation again, south and west of Spartanburg, because that's the strongest circulation that we're seeing right now on the radar. This cell that is moving into Spartanburg right now, you're going to be seeing a lot of heavy rain, gusty winds, and the possibility of a tornado. Now, the latest update has a rotation between Roebuck and Spartanburg. So just to the south and west of Spartanburg is where we're seeing that strongest rotation and the very heavy rain right now, blinding tropical rain between Fairmont and Spartanburg, and then extending to Boiling Springs.
Yeah, I know this is a situation where it looks like the wind may be dying down a touch near Roebuck and over towards Spartanburg, but there is definite rotation, and if anything, we're seeing straight line winds also bowing out from this. So it's a 1-2 punch. You're going to get some wind damage likely in the city of Spartanburg and then beyond because of the fact that these storms became so energized and there's so much spin in the atmosphere from what's left of Fred. But the good news is that now that that Greenville County has been cleared out, there's not going to be any additional storms. This is the last gasp, as Bob was saying. I like that better than my analogy of Fred, because essentially once this line moves through, it's done. It's worked our atmosphere over, and it's going to be moving on to bring potential tornadoes into the Charlotte area, Raleigh later on tonight, into parts of North Carolina. So Arcadia Heights, Cleveland Park, Valley Falls, spots like Cooley Springs, Chesney could be impacted by this rotating storm that just keeps on going. And we still have rotation farther to the south too. We have a tornado warning that continues for Cross Hill and over toward Clinton, down in the southern Lawrence County. And then we also have the one north of Spartanburg as well. So here we go. It's all lined up. Let's see. It looks like it's right here. Here we go. This is the part of the storm between Cross Hill and Joanna, and that's going to keep moving on into Union County. This is the worst of the rotation that I've seen in Lawrence County, but really I think the strongest is up in Spartanburg County as it continues off toward the east. But I'm seeing a weakening trend in general in the wind field.
And Kendra, they did just
So
cancel the
that'll-
tornado warning for Spartanburg.
Okay, well, you know what? It's funny. I saw that wind field go down, and I'm very happy to hear that. It is canceled or will be allowed to expire.
It says canceled.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, we're very happy about that. So we've seen the wind field really come down. We're not dealing with as strong of wind, but still remain indoors and away from windows as this passes through Spartanburg County. What about they're talking about this part of Spartanburg storm, this one right here. So this one is still going. It's a little confusing.
That one is still going,
yes.
correct.
So we have two different tornado warnings for Spartanburg. So pardon me, that's what I was a little surprised, because there still is some rotation between Roebuck and Spartanburg. So they're holding on to this warning, but the warning for Campobello, Landrum, that one has been canceled. So again, that's part of the frustration of having many tornado warnings. It's hard sometimes to keep them all straight, but we appreciate you sticking with us. We also have Lawrence County, one moving toward Clinton, and that's going to be pushing up into Union County as well. So if we can get back to our radar, we'll maybe start south and then move our way to the north and track these as they continue. We'll go into southern Lawrence County, where this one right here will be continuing up into Union County. Union, you're under that tornado warning as well. So we'll put that Pauline, West Springs, Packlet, Jonesville, as well as Bonham in the path of this storm. Not nearly as impressive of rotation as what we've seen with some storms, but certainly enough to where you want to take those tornado safety precautions. Now around Spartanburg, this is where we still have rotation, and the confusion there was for this northwestern portion of the storm that has now been removed. But now we're looking at some very strong wind pushing into Spartanburg and then eventually making its way up toward Cowpens, Mayo, Corinth, Ellenboro could be impacted by this storm, but certainly some strong wind with it as it moves through. And then we've got the Rutherford County storm, and there's still a decent amount of rotation with that one too. That will be moving closer to Rutherford pretty soon. So again, still watching Spartanburg closely for the development of a tornado. Cody, have you had any reports of any damage in Spartanburg? Any law enforcement seeing anything around the city of Spartanburg?
Yeah, I've reached out, but I've not seen anything right now. So I'm still checking. But yeah, as of now, I've not seen anything confirmed in Spartanburg. It seems like we're just getting a lot of now like sporadic trees down. TR got some trees down there. But really, it looks like there's more people are getting out in Malden. I mean, we're finding other areas that are more maybe rural that we're seeing that people are still sending us damage to. So that, and I'll tell you, to be honest, it really does feel like Western North Carolina. I talked to Asheville Fire. They have multiple cars being, people being brought out. They have homes that are being evacuated. No major rescues right now, but our Transylvania County, I've seen some video that I'm trying to get permission to from some folks up there, but some of that flooding is insane. Some of those rivers up there in Transylvania County in the Pisgah Forest, there's one with a car halfway submerged in it. Hopefully, people are getting out, but it seems like Transylvania County is getting hit the hardest right now, at least from what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
I think, too, if we can take Max 2, I can show you some of this impressive rain that we've been seeing on Doppler radar, and I can do a quick tour of this as well, because that's the other part of the story, along with the wind damage, is this biblical rain in some places of our area. You're looking to the northern part of Greenville County here into the higher elevations, and we're getting into a tremendous amount of rain. North of Slater, north of Highland, you get into these deep magenta colors and blue colors. I'm going to go ahead and click on some of these colors, and you'll see some of these accumulations popping up. 13.1 inches of rain north of Travelers Rest. That's insane. Some of those higher elevations, and then into this magenta color closer to 9 inches. So you just get a feeling of just how much rain has been falling across the mountains, and it's no wonder that they're seeing all kinds of problems up there. Farther to the east, look at all this rain. This is the past 48 hours around Cashers and then into southwest parts of Transylvania County. I'm going to go ahead and click on this blue color here. 11.8 inches of rain in that part of the county, up to 10 in areas just to the north and west, and around Cashers, you've picked up amazing amounts of rain as well. So it's no wonder that we're seeing all kinds of problems in the mountains. And I'll go ahead and zoom this out, and you can see all this heavy rain that extends from Rabun County all the way into Oconee, northern Pickens, and then into Transylvania County. Some of these rain amounts are staggering. North of Highlands, near Highway 276, and then up into the higher elevations too. That's into areas north of Brevard. Go ahead and query that one, and you can see that we've had over 10 inches of rain. So Kendra, it's no wonder that we're seeing all these reports of flooding and mudslides in the mountains and all kinds of problems.
All right, and again, we are still watching several different areas that are getting hit this afternoon. Bob just mentioned a lot of them. Western North Carolina, where we have a lot of the flooding concerns. Around Asheville, around Biltmore Forest, we're seeing flooding there in that area. We're also just getting a report from Asheville Fire, Kimberly Avenue, a tree on top of a home. Fortunately, no one hurt, but it's not what these homeowners want to deal with today, because now it looks like they're going to replace an entire roof. Actually, while I'm here, I think we can take this web live if we can do that. And here you can see that tree in the house. This is what we're seeing now, Kendra, across Western North Carolina. Not only the flooding, but the flooding bringing these trees down with just a little bit of wind.
Absolutely. And with the ground that saturated, you're going to see a lot of this happen. And unfortunately, that's going to be on top of people having to leave their homes because of rising water. And then you go down south into the upstate, and there's still a tornado concern. So it's just been a really terrible day across the area. But we are seeing there's an end in sight. It is going to be pulling out pretty fast.
And look at this, Kendra. This is in Asheville too. I wanted to show this while we have it up here.
Wow.
This is from Asheville Fire a little while ago, but just the flooding that they're seeing in that area, and you can see right there. I mean, that's crazy. But that's what we're seeing, and that's in Asheville. You can see it moving that building there, that outhouse.
That's crazy. It's unreal. And that is essentially it's the worst thing about tropical systems is the fact that if you're not on the coast, storm surge tends to be the deadliest thing. But then once tropical systems move on land, it's the flooding that can be deadly, that can be the most costly. And then another side of that is the tornadoes that spawn as these storms move inland. So you can see we've got that lineup of heavy storms from Spartanburg County over toward Lawrence County. City of Spartanburg still under the tornado warning. We did have a report recently that a funnel cloud was reported in Easley earlier today. So we're getting a lot of reports kind of after the fact. Nothing out of Spartanburg just yet, though. And from what I've seen, the rotational component around Spartanburg really not all that impressive anymore. And I'm going to take another look real quick, but we still have some potential for some pretty gusty winds with the Spartanburg storm.
And we're going to report Highway 146. Kendra has a tree down all the way across 146 near Workman Road in Woodruff. So starting to get some reports of people. I hope they're not out and about, but of course people are heading home, maybe delayed from work. So
and also the storm did just move out of Woodruff. It came from Woodruff to Spartanburg. So around Spartanburg, know that this storm has had a history of putting down trees and causing damage. And then we also have the storms through Lawrence County, which appear to be weakening just a bit. Now we have 3 total tornado warnings. One still up in Rutherford County, and then one in Lawrence County and one over in Spartanburg County. But this one over toward Forest City is pretty strong as well. Looking at the potential for a tornado near Forest City and Rutherfordton. We'll track that as it continues to move on through Rutherford County, Bostic, Sunshine, Duncans Creek in the path of that storm. And then as we move a little bit farther to the south, we've got some pretty significant heavy rain, and then the potential for maybe even a quick spin-up tornado around the city of Spartanburg and moving off toward the north and east. So we'll track this part of the line as it's going to be making its way toward Cherokee County. But the worst of the rotation within that located just south of Spartanburg, but still it is weakened quite a bit. I'd say some of the stronger rotation now is located close to Clinton and Joanna, so we'll head down there. But again, trying to make sure we can cover everybody. Sorry, we can't linger on any particular storm for that long. Because we want to make sure that everybody can stay safe. But with this storm, we're looking at that potential of a tornado moving into Union County. That puts it through Filson Crossroads and Cross Keys. So these 3 tornado warnings continue basically along the line of what's left from Fred as it moves into Union County. We've got Cherokee County to get through at this point. And then it looks like we're going to be just about in the clear once we can get this to move off toward the east. So slowly but surely, this line is getting out of here, but it's going to take a little while to do so. So, Bob, if we can clear this off and just kind of take a look at that line, at least we can give a few all clears behind the line. Happy to report an all clear for Fountain Inn, where we had that tornado that moved across 385. Happy to report an all clear for Easley as well, where we had the reports of a funnel cloud, and also around Pendleton, where the tornado was reported there, and we had some damage, some trees down. Luckily, we have not had as much damage as we potentially could have with some of these tornadoes, but we're going to be finding more as we get going. And some of this was in rural areas. We may end up seeing that there was a little more significant of damage. But really, a big story over the next few days will be the continuous flooding across western North Carolina, really being at its peak between now and the end of tomorrow. But even those rivers will likely crest many days down the road. French Broad River likely going to have a lot of issues after all of the heavy rain that moved through. So you can see heavy rains through Spartanburg, through Lawrence, and then down through Greenwood County continues and will continue to push off toward the east. So next in line will be Cherokee County. This is all over you in Rutherford County. We still have the 3 tornado warnings. Lawrence, and then up towards Spartanburg, and then we've got Rutherford and Polk County. Really, the storm has shifted into Rutherford County. I'd say Polk, you're going to be in the clear here pretty soon. And then we're still in a tornado watch for Greenville County, but I expect Greenville County to be pulled from that watch here pretty soon as the line has pushed off toward the east at this point. So again, still watching these 3 warnings, but across the area from Pickens County to Greenville up into Henderson County, Buncombe County, flash flood warnings continue. And this is going to be an ongoing problem tonight into tomorrow. If you're watching, you're going to have to find out where those areas are that are the most flood prone. If you're having the rising waters, get with local authorities about that, because this is going to be a really dangerous situation for those in the higher elevations. We knew that they would be the most vulnerable to getting that excessive rainfall. And then we also knew that tornadoes were a possibility, but man, we saw a whole lot more than necessarily expected from this tropical depression. But all the ingredients lined up for us to see this, and I mean, no pun intended, but they lined up like this. I mean, look at this. The final band of Fred, as it finally pivots out of our area, we will no longer be under a tornado threat, but it still has to get through the rest of Spartanburg County, has to get through Cherokee and Union County, as well as Newberry County before we would potentially get an all clear, Cody.
And we just got an update. Transylvania County schools, not surprising, will be closed tomorrow due to the flooding. They are getting hit hard, already under a state of emergency. So just to recap, we now have Haywood County schools closed. Transylvania County schools will be closed for students. It'll be an optional teacher workday. And we do know Jackson County schools on a 2-hour delay. Here's what Transylvania County schools are saying. After an unprecedented amount of rainfall over the past 3 days, we have witnessed extensive flooding, destruction, power outages, and uncertainty about recovery time from this damage. Schools will be closed on Wednesday, and teachers may come to school for an optional workday. But again, that's a safety issue. We see this a lot, but I think they're seeing so many mudslides across that county, and it won't be surprised if more of our counties in the western North Carolina do either delay or closed tomorrow, because we are seeing a number of mudslides. We've seen them in Haywood, we've seen them in Transylvania, we're seeing flooding in Asheville and up in Swain County as well. So again, if you are just joining us, we're extending our coverage today. We've had probably the most tornado warnings I can ever remember in this amount of time across not only the upstate, but also out of northeast Georgia, western North Carolina. We have maybe record rainfall and flooding down in western North Carolina. It's going to be devastating for some of those folks there, because Kendra mentioned with rain, it's the extensive amount of damage from the flooding to the mold to the cleanup. It's just awful. We've seen I-40 up in western North Carolina blocked due to mudslides and debris flow. So we're really still watching that. But I know Kendra has got this radar over Spartanburg County now. I've been checking with my sources there, but as you can imagine, a lot of them are busy. But I have not seen any significant damage yet, Kendra, like that. It's just trees down here and there.
Yeah, and there doesn't appear to be any particularly strong rotation at this point. But enough to where a tornado warning is going to stay for a little while longer, because of the fact that there's enough rotation that could spawn a quick spin-up tornado, but also very strong wind. It's been gusty as all of this has moved through. And they're continuing that tornado warning till 7:30, so for the next 10 minutes. The severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 8 miles east of Lawrence and near Clinton. Okay, well, never mind. That's the one that's in Lawrence, but we'll go over that one real quick. 8 miles east of Lawrence near Clinton, and it's continuing to move off toward the north and east at 35 miles per hour. So really booking it. So we'll do the storm track on that one. Then we'll go back to the Spartanburg storm. But that puts it into Cross Keys, Reno, as well as Filson Crossroads. And then we also have the storm up in Spartanburg County, and it looks like that one is going to be continued until 7:30 as well. So right around 7:30 will be an interesting time to see if they continue these or if they issue new ones, because there hasn't been enough to cancel, but we really haven't seen a lot in the way of widespread issues. We haven't had a lot of reports of damage, and certainly haven't seen any tight rotations that would indicate a tornado on the ground, or TDS necessarily. I say TDS, tornado debris signature, like what we saw in Malden earlier, Bob.
Right, yeah. All these warnings are about to expire in 8 minutes. And like you said, it'll be curious to see how they handle them. Will they let it expire and just let the line continue to press to the east, or will they extend these warnings as this last gasp of Fred is rolling through the last line of heavy showers and storms that's been relentless for a while, Kendra?
Yeah, and it looks like the radar just updated too. So if you don't mind clearing off my track there, and I'll just kind of show the latest location of the heavy rain. It really goes right through Spartanburg, up into the northern part of the county, and then down into the southern part where Woodruff is located. And then we also have some heavy downpours around Clinton, Emery, Pauline, seeing some of that. And then Cross Hill, things are beginning to improve for you. But boy, I'll tell you, right along I-26 there, getting some very heavy rain at the interchange of 385 as well. Heavy downpours pushing into Union County. And then this band of heavy rain will eventually make its way over toward Union County shortly. So right around the city of Spartanburg, sitting on top of you, that heavy, heavy rain and the potential for a spin-up tornado. We need to be on guard for that, even though we haven't had any reports of anything thus far, and the rotational component hasn't been huge. We haven't seen any very tight radar couplet indicating a tornado through radar in the last few minutes. But up as you move into the mountains, this is where we have flood-prone areas. We've had a lot of flooding, of course. Cody's been talking about it through Haywood County as well as Jackson County, Transylvania County. State of emergency continues there. So something that we can't, I mean, it's really hard to even fathom how much that rain is going to affect things in the mountains, and just how much we saw. Bob recapped it earlier. I mean, in the double digits for rain in many spots. Not as much in the upstate, but we've certainly had our share of dramatic weather today. And when it came to tornado warnings, all around Anderson, Oconee, Pickens, Greenville, and now that threat is moving off toward Rutherford County. No tornado warning for McDowell County, but wouldn't rule it out before the end of the evening. And then as we move towards Spartanburg, finally beginning to see some of this heavy rain try to transition east of the I-26-85 interchange, but right along I-85, this heavy rain continues to move, and it's going to get closer to Gaffney, and then off to the east of Lawrence around Clinton, seeing a lot of that heavy rain and the potential for some rotation here too. We've seen that. And there's a brand new update as we continue to watch for the potential for a tornado east of Lawrence, near Spartanburg as well, and then up into Rutherford County. So we've got, again, several tornado warnings that continue, and this one right here is going to be getting close to Rutherford County, but 7:30 in about 6 minutes, we'll really get a better idea of how National Weather Service is handling all of these warnings and how they're thinking the rotation is holding up. To me, Bob, it looks like these are struggling to hold on to rotation compared to the storms earlier, which I really like to see. But no reason to let your guard down at this point.
Right, you know, and usually when these cells are out by themselves, we call those discrete supercells or discrete cells. That's when we're worried. But now it's becoming more linear in nature. And as you mentioned, I'm looking for rotation and not seeing really too much rotation in these anymore as I'm going up and down the line and looking at these right now. So it looks like the heaviest wind would be east of Spartanburg and between Spartanburg and Cowpens. That's where we're seeing some strong winds, maybe straight line winds. But as far as anything rotating, as far as tornadic, not seeing that. Maybe some stronger rotation near east of Woodruff right now. But, you know, it looks like this event is slowly beginning to wind down, as we'll have to see how they handle the expiration of these tornado warnings, which will be expiring in 4 minutes. So we're coming up on 7:26, and these tornado warnings expire at 7:30 for Lawrence, Spartanburg, and Union. And then we have the one farther to the north into Spartanburg and a part of Cherokee County, and then into North Carolina for Polk and Rutherford County. So time will tell. They have not canceled or expired these warnings yet, but we will continue to watch those. We also have numerous flash flood warnings into the mountains. You saw me show you the Doppler radar indicated rain the past 48 hours. Amazing over a foot of rain in some counties into the mountains and the northern part of the upstate, some of the higher terrain there. But you can see a flash flood warning continues until 8:30 for Haywood, Madison until 8. Then we've got other areas farther to the east, Mitchell County until 9:30. Here's a storm report 5 miles northeast of Fountain Inn. Multiple trees were down with road blockages on Ritchie Road in Fountain Inn. I'm not familiar where that is, but Ritchie Road in Fountain Inn, they've had reports of multiple trees down there.
Okay.
Probably with that system that moved across 385 in Fountain Inn.
Yeah,
earlier.
no, that would make a lot of sense. And again, we had so many reports right around Fountain Inn and around 385 in Fountain Inn of issues that it makes sense that we would continue to get those reports of trees down. And there may have been multiple touchdowns with that particular cell. It would not surprise me at this point. I'm doing the same as you, Bob. I'm just kind of looking at the different storms, seeing how rotation is holding up. I don't know if in about 2 minutes we'll know if National Weather Service is going to extend any of these warnings beyond 7:30. Wouldn't surprise me though, and we've still got some ground to cover at this point. If you got a chance, let's pop up storm reports in a minute, Bob, and see show where we've had tornadoes reported in the area. For right now, though, tornado warning continues, and we may not be able to do that right now. Actually, Bob, I'll check on it in a second. But a tornado warning continues for Spartanburg, Lawrence, and then up into Rutherford County. And again, we'll see in a little bit if these if they get extended or if new warnings are issued. Because at the 7:30 hour, that's when National Weather Service will be making that decision. But for right now, still some very strong storms, but at least they are moving. They will be out of the area likely by the 8:30 to 9 o'clock hour tonight, just in time for us to get ready for the 10 o'clock news. And we're going to have a complete recap. I can't tell you all the reports coming in on our newsroom email, all of the videos, the pictures that are being sent in. We're going to be sharing all of those coming up on the 10 o'clock news. So be sure to tune in, and all of an update on radar, of course. But right now, the radar is still very, very active as all of this is going to continue to move off into Cherokee County and Union County. So it is now 7:29, so we've got another minute or so to see. I don't know if National Weather Service is communicating whether these warnings will be. I have a feeling they're going to keep them on, or at least a couple of them, but we'll see. There's still nothing overly ominous about any single warning, but they are all, they could all potentially produce some damage.
Sure. And it looks like they're gone. Did they expire them? I don't see any tornado warnings right now.
They're still in our system,
Okay.
on our crawl system, but you know what? I think that's the first to go down is what you're showing right there. So they may have allowed those to expire. And we'll be checking in with them to make sure. And we're not getting off the air just yet. We're going to be staying with this for a moment to see if any new ones do get issued, because that wouldn't surprise me.
You know, we have this tornado watch continuing, I should mention that, until 2 a.m. And that is for parts of the upstate and points east. But as you pointed out earlier, Kendra, this event is not going to last till 2 a.m.
No.
Another hour and a half.
It could last till
2
2 a.m. for the northern extent of that tornado watch. So as you look at this, Columbia, Charlotte included in this watch, and so are areas up toward Greensboro. That's where this event could last the longest, because notice it'll pivot up toward Charlotte and then all the way up to the north. That's where we're going to be dealing with the potential for tornadoes into the late night hours. For us, I think we've got about one more hour of a threat ahead. And it does not appear we're seeing any new tornado warnings being reissued. The National Weather Service is incredibly busy right now, so they're a little less communicative than probably they typically would be. But notice The reds have disappeared. We no longer have those. Let's go ahead and get radar back up, and we'll at least go through that line once more and show you where some of the worst of the weather is happening with that line of storms. Around Spartanburg County, central Spartanburg County, just now getting east of Spartanburg, and then on top of Rutherford County as well, getting some of the heaviest rain, potential rotation there. But again, the warnings have expired, so we haven't seen any new ones issued at this point. And then you go down toward Lawrence County, that's where we had a strong storm moving through Clinton, toward Joanna, and then ultimately toward Union County as well. So again, right now, no actual tornado warnings. We have a lot of heavy rain, gusty winds. So at this point, we're going to be sending you back to regular programming at the 7:30 hour, but we will be watching these storms oh so closely. We'll jump right back on the air if a tornado warning does get issued. But of course, for continuing coverage, be sure to check in with us tonight on the 10 and 11 o'clock news. We'll have a full recap, and also download the Fox Carolina app. Keep up with us on Facebook Live as well as our YouTube channel. And thank you for sticking with us for this extended coverage.
Thanks for watching Fox Carolina News. Watch us live wherever you are, on our mobile, on our streaming news app. And you can also watch us on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.